I died at my office desk. Not from a car crash. Not from some heroic sacrifice. No, I died because my boss thought overtime builds character. But when I opened my eyes again, I wasn't in a hospital. I was lying in a luxury bed. Silk sheets, golden chandelier, and a body that wasn't mine. Then the memories hit me. I had transmigrated into an Omegaverse novel. And not as the protagonist. Not as the villain. No, I became the tragic Omega stand-in. The one who would love the powerful alpha male lead. Give him everything. Only to be framed for cheating and thrown away when his real lover returned. So I made a simple plan. Take the alpha's money. Pretend to love him. Then disappear before the disaster. There was just one tiny problem. The alpha could hear every thought in my head. And I had been insulting him in my mind since day one. The last thing I remember from my real life is the glow of my office monitor burning into my eyes. Spreadsheet. Coffee. Another spreadsheet. My boss shouting somewhere behind me. Then my chest tightened like someone had shoved a brick inside it. I remember thinking, if I die here, I'm haunting the payroll department first. Then everything went black. When I opened my eyes again, I was staring at a crystal chandelier. Huh. My voice sounded softer. Higher. Definitely not the exhausted voice of a 28-year-old office worker who had survived on instant noodles and caffeine. I sat up slowly. Silk sheets slid down my chest. I looked down. Oh, long pale legs. Slim waist. Smooth skin. I froze. Why do I have Omega pheromones? Memories crashed into my mind like a truck. A novel. An Omegaverse novel I had read out of boredom during overtime shifts. And the body I was in now belonged to Brown. The stand-in lover. The tragic disposable Omega. I pressed both hands to my face. You've got to be kidding me. In the novel, Brown loved the male lead William, an extremely powerful alpha. But everyone knew the truth. Brown was just a replacement. A placeholder. Because William's real lover, his childhood friend Max, was studying abroad. When Max returned, Brown would be discarded. Even worse, Max would frame Brown for cheating. William would catch him red-handed. And Brown would be thrown away like trash. I stared at the ceiling for a long moment, then slowly sat up. All right, if this was my new life, then I needed a plan. Step 1, don't fall in love with the alpha male lead. Step 2, accept the financial support. Step 3, leave before the disaster happens. I snapped my fingers. Perfect. Play the role. Collect the money. Disappear before the plot explodes. No heartbreak. No tragic ending. I swung my legs out of bed just as the bedroom door opened. And the man himself walked in. William. Tall. Broad shoulders. Dark eyes sharp enough to cut glass. Alpha pheromones pressed against the air like quiet thunder. He stopped when he saw me awake. You're up. His voice was low. Controlled. Cold. Exactly like the novel described. I immediately switched into the original Brown's personality. Soft voice. Gentle smile. Yes, did I worry you? Inside my head, though. Wow. The walking red flag himself. William's gaze flickered slightly. Just for a second. Then it returned to its usual calm. He walked closer. Your fever was high last night. He reached out and touched my forehead. His hand was warm. Gentle. Honestly, way more gentle than I expected from someone who would later throw me away. I lowered my eyes obediently. Sorry. Inside my mind. If I die again, I swear I'm haunting the author of this novel. William's fingers paused for half a second. Then he pulled his hand away. You should rest. Okay. I nodded sweetly. Inside my head. Good. Less interaction means less emotional damage. William turned to leave. But before stepping out the door, he glanced back at me. His expression looked strangely amused. I frowned slightly. Why does he look like he just heard a joke? But he said nothing, and the door closed quietly behind him. Downstairs later that day, I met William's friends. Exactly the group of people who loved reminding the original Brown that he was just a stand-in. One of them smirked at me. You're still here? I blinked innocently. Yes. Inside my mind. Unfortunately for you, yes. Another one laughed. You know Max is coming back soon, right? I lowered my head politely. I know. Inside my head. Breaking news. Stand-in character aware of plot twist. They exchanged amused looks. One of them leaned closer. You should prepare yourself. Prepare? He grinned. For when William sends you away. I kept my expression quiet. Submissive. just like the original Brown would. But inside, buddy, I'm planning to leave before that happens. Across the room, William sat on the sofa reading a document. He looked completely uninterested in the conversation. But for some reason, the corner of his mouth lifted slightly, like he was trying not to laugh. That night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling. The mansion was silent. Moonlight spilled across the floor. I folded my arms behind my head. This life might not be so bad. A rich alpha supporting me. Luxury house. No overtime. Honestly, best transmigration deal ever. I grinned lazily. Just need to survive until Max shows up. Then I'll walk away with a nice bank account. And William can go live happily with his real lover. Perfect ending. I rolled onto my side and closed my eyes. Completely unaware that somewhere in the mansion, William stood near the window, staring at the dark garden, and quietly listening to every single thought I had. Morning in a rich alpha's mansion is suspiciously peaceful. No alarm screaming in my ear. No boss knocking on my cubicle like he's collecting rent. Just sunlight sliding through the curtains and a mattress, so soft it feels illegal. I stretch under the blanket and stare at the ceiling. Yeah, I could get used to this. Then reality punches me. Right. I'm still the stand-in Omega destined for emotional destruction. I sigh and drag myself out of bed. Step 1. Maintain the act. The original Brown was gentle. Quiet. Devoted to William like a loyal puppy. So that's what I'll do. Outside. Inside my head, though, different story. Breakfast is already prepared when I walk into the dining room. The house staff greets me politely. The table looks like something from a luxury hotel. Eggs. Fruit. Toast. I sit down and immediately start calculating. Okay, how much money has William given Brown so far? The original Brown kept a small account book. I checked it last night. Monthly allowance. Clothes. Apartment he bought in the city. I almost whistled when I saw the numbers. Wow, being a stand-in pays extremely well. If I'm smart about this, I could leave this place in a year with enough money to retire comfortably. I take a sip of juice. Thank you for your generous donation, Mr. Alpha Male Lead. Footsteps approach. I already know who it is before I look up. William. Tall. Calm. Completely unfair looking. His presence alone makes the air feel heavier. He takes the seat across from me. I quickly switch expressions. Gentle smile. Soft voice. Good morning. Inside my mind, why does he look like he walked out of a magazine cover? That's illegal for a fictional character. William picks up his coffee. For a moment, his hand pauses. Then he drinks quietly. I tilt my head. Did you sleep well? William nods once. Yes. His eyes linger on me a little longer than usual. I lower my gaze shyly. Perfect imitation of the original Brown. Inside, though, stop staring at me like that. I'm trying to act, sir. William suddenly clears his throat. He looks away and resumes eating. That tiny reaction makes my eyebrow twitch. Weird. Later that afternoon, William's friends arrive. Exactly the group of people who enjoy reminding me that I'm temporary. I'm sitting quietly on the sofa when they enter. One of them laughs when he sees me. Well, look who's still here. I give a small polite smile. Inside my head. Yes, hello to you too, background villain number 1. Another friend drops onto the couch. You heard Max is coming back next month? There it is. The famous countdown. I nod softly. Yes. Inside my head. Breaking news. The final boss approaches. They laugh among themselves. One of them glances toward William across the room. William's going to be happy. Another smirks. Yeah. His Omega is finally returning. The words hang in the air. A very deliberate reminder. I lower my head slightly like the comment hurts. Inside my head, though. Relax, Brown. Don't ruin the performance. Remember the goal. Money. Freedom. Peaceful exit. Across the room, William sits silently, reading something on his tablet. He looks completely uninterested in the conversation. But then, his shoulders shake slightly. Just once. Like he suppressed a laugh. I blink. Did he just laugh? Impossible. William in the novel is emotionally constipated. This man barely smiles. I glance at him again. His face is calm. Cold. Expressionless. Okay, maybe I imagine that. Evening arrives quietly. William is working in his office when I knock on the door. Come in. I open it slowly. The room smells faintly of alpha pheromones and expensive books. William looks up from his desk. Yes. I step inside. The original Brown often brought him tea at night. So I do the same. I place the cup beside him. You've been working all day. You should rest. William studies me. Longer than usual. Something thoughtful flickers in his eyes. You seem different lately. My heart jumps. Oh no. Did I break character already? I keep my voice gentle. Different. Yes. He leans back slightly. You talk less. Inside my head. That's because if I talk too much I might accidentally expose the entire plot of your novel, sir. Out loud I say quietly. I just didn't want to disturb you. William's gaze lingers on my face. For a moment the room is very quiet. Then he nods once. I see. I give a small smile and turn to leave. Inside my mind. That was close. Note to self, stay in character. Just as my hand reaches the door. William speaks again. Brown. I turn. Yes. He watches me carefully. Like he's trying to solve a puzzle. Nothing. He looks back down at his papers. You can go. I nod politely and leave the office. The door closes behind me. Inside the room, William sits very still. Then slowly he leans back in his chair. For the first time all evening, he smiles. A quiet, amused smile. Because the thoughts he heard tonight were nothing like the Omega everyone believed Brown to be. Not soft. Not obedient. Sharp. Sarcastic. Completely unafraid. William taps his finger against the desk. Interesting. Across the mansion, in my bedroom, I collapse onto the bed dramatically. I bury my face in the pillow. Acting is exhausting. Inside my mind. But if it gets me out of this tragic love triangle alive, totally worth it. I stretch lazily under the blanket. Then close my eyes. Completely unaware that the alpha in the office is still thinking about me. And listening. I knew the day would come. I just didn't expect it to arrive while I was peacefully eating strawberries in the living room. The front door opened. A familiar voice echoed through the mansion. William. I'm back. I froze. Well, speak of the devil. Max. The real Omega male lead of the novel. The beautiful childhood friend everyone believed William loved. I slowly placed the strawberry back on the plate. All right, Brown. Final boss has entered the game. Footsteps rushed through the hall. Luggage wheels rolled across the floor. Then he appeared in the doorway. Max looked exactly how the novel described him. Soft features. Warm smile. Gentle Omega pheromones. The kind of Omega who made people instinctively protective. His eyes landed on me immediately. For a split second, something sharp flickered in them. Then the sweetness returned. Brown, he said softly. You're still here. I smiled politely. Yes. Welcome back. Inside my head, though. Oh wow. The future villain himself. He's prettier than I expected. Max walked past me toward William. The alpha had just stepped into the room. Max's face lit up. Without hesitation, he ran forward and hugged him. I missed you so much. The room suddenly felt very quiet. William didn't push him away. He also didn't hug him back. He just stood there. Still. Watching. I lowered my gaze like the scene hurt me. Because the original Brown would definitely look heartbroken right now. Inside my mind, though. Wow. This scene looks exactly like Chapter 12. The author really loved dramatic entrances. Across the room, William's eyes flickered. Just slightly. Max pulled away from the hug and smiled brightly. You didn't even write me while I was gone. William answered calmly. You said you were busy studying. Max laughed softly. Well, I'm back now. His gaze slid toward me again. A polite smile. But his pheromones sharpened slightly. Like quiet hostility. I hope I didn't interrupt anything. I shook my head quickly. No. Inside my mind. Not at all. I was just calculating my financial escape plan. William suddenly cleared his throat. The sound cut through the tension. Dinner will be ready soon. Dinner was awkward. Max sat very close to William, almost leaning against his shoulder. Every time he spoke, his voice carried a soft affection. Like they were already lovers. William didn't respond much. But he also didn't stop him. I kept my role perfect. Quiet. Gentle. Occasionally glancing at William like a shy Omega in love. Inside my head, though, this dinner table feels like a reality show. Alpha, his childhood Omega, and the disposable stand-in. William coughed suddenly. Max blinked. Are you all right? I'm fine. But for some reason William refused to look at me. Later that night, I escaped to the garden. Cool air brushed against my skin. Finally. Peace. I leaned against the stone railing and sighed. Well, phase 2 begins. Max had returned. which meant the story would soon move toward its disaster arc. I folded my arms. Time to slowly prepare my exit. Footsteps approached behind me. I didn't need to turn to know who it was. William. Of course. He stopped a few steps away. You left dinner early. I shrugged slightly. I didn't want to disturb your reunion. Inside my mind. Also, I didn't want to sit through another 30 minutes of romantic tension. Silence stretched between us. Then William walked closer. Too close. His presence surrounded me. Warm alpha pheromones pressed against the air like quiet fire. I swallowed. My omega instincts reacted immediately. Annoying biology. William's voice dropped lower. Are you upset? I looked up at him. Should I be? Inside my head. Technically, yes. But emotionally? Not really. William studied my face carefully. Then his hand reached out. His fingers brushed my chin, tilting my head upward. The contact sent a strange heat down my spine. Alpha pheromones thickened in the cool night air. Brown, he said quietly. Yes. My voice came out softer than I expected. William's thumb traced slowly along my jaw. Not rough, but deliberate, like he was memorizing the shape of my face. Inside my head, panic immediately started. Okay, sir, why are we doing this outside the official plot timeline? His gaze darkened slightly. Do you want to leave? The question caught me off guard. What? His hand slid down to my neck. Warm. Possessive. Not quite a grip, but enough to make my pulse jump. You said earlier you didn't want to disturb anything. His thumb brushed the sensitive skin just below my ear. My breath hitched. Omega instincts were stupidly reactive. Inside my head, chaos erupted. Oh, great. Now my body thinks this is a romance novel. I forced myself to stay calm. I just thought you'd prefer to spend time with Max. William stepped closer. Now our bodies were only inches apart. His scent wrapped around me completely. Dangerously comforting. He's a friend, William said. I blinked. Wait, that's not what the novel said. Before I could think further, William's fingers slipped into my hair. Gentle, but firm. Tilting my head back. His breath brushed my lips. Heat rushed through my chest. Inside my mind. Okay, Brown, remain calm. This alpha is way too close for professional stand-in duties. William's voice became a low murmur. You're distracted tonight. My heart pounded. Am I? His thumb brushed slowly across my lower lip. The contact was light, but it sent a dangerous shiver through me. Very. For a moment, neither of us moved. The tension felt thick enough to break. Then William leaned down slightly. Not quite kissing me, just close enough that our breaths mixed. My mind exploded with panic. Sir, please remember you have a childhood sweetheart inside the house. William's shoulders shook slightly, like he was suppressing a laugh. Then he finally stepped back. The sudden loss of warmth made the night air feel colder. You should sleep, he said calmly, like nothing had happened. I stared at him. Okay. Inside my head, though. What the hell was that? William turned and walked back toward the mansion. But as he disappeared through the door, a faint smile appeared on his face. Because Brown's thoughts tonight had been far more entertaining than the conversation. And the more he listened, the more fascinating this Omega became. After Max returned, the mansion slowly turned into a battlefield. A quiet one. The kind where smiles were weapons and politeness hid knives. And apparently, I was the target. The first attempt was subtle. Max accidentally spilled tea on my shirt during breakfast. Oh no, he said sweetly, grabbing a napkin. I'm so sorry. I shook my head quickly. It's all right. Inside my mind, though. Wow. That was about as accidental as a meteor strike. Max's smile stiffened slightly. Across the table, William lowered his cup slowly. His expression remained calm, but his eyes flickered toward Max for a brief second. The second attempt came a week later. Rumors. Small ones. Servants whispering. William's friends watching me strangely. One afternoon, I overheard two of them talking. I heard Brown has been meeting another alpha. Seriously? Yeah. Someone saw him downtown. I leaned against the hallway wall and sighed. Wow. Speedrun framing arc. The novel really wasn't subtle. According to the story, Max would eventually set up a scene where William caught me cheating. Then everything would explode. I rubbed my temples. All right. If I already knew the trap, then avoiding it should be easy. That night I was reading quietly in my room when someone knocked on the door. Come in. The door opened. Max stepped inside. His smile looked gentle. Too gentle. Brown, can we talk? I closed the book and nodded. Of course. He walked slowly into the room. For a moment, he just looked at me, studying, like he was trying to understand something. "You've changed," he said softly. I blinked. "Changed?" "Yes." His voice remained sweet. "But William still keeps you around." Inside my mind. Ah, there it is. The jealousy. Out loud, I just lowered my gaze. "I never intended to compete with you." Max stepped closer. "But you are." His pheromones sharpened slightly. The air felt heavier. "I know William," Max continued quietly. "He doesn't keep people he doesn't care about." I forced a small smile. "I'm grateful for his help." Inside my head, though, "Buddy, I'm just here for the retirement fund." Max's eyes narrowed almost invisibly. Then he suddenly laughed softly. "Well, that's good." He turned toward the door. "But you should be careful." I tilted my head. "Careful?" Max looked back at me. His smile returned. "There are rumors about you lately." Inside my mind. "Yes, thank you, I heard the trailer for that movie already." Out loud, I simply nodded. "I'll remember that." Max left the room. The door closed quietly behind him. I leaned back against the bed. Yep, trap incoming. 2 days later it happened. A message arrived while William was at work. One of the house staff approached me nervously. "Someone is waiting for you at the hotel downtown." I frowned. "Who?" He didn't say, but he said it was important. I stared at the paper for a moment, then sighed. "Congratulations. The cheating scene has been scheduled." I grabbed my coat. Well, might as well attend the event. The hotel room smelled strongly of alpha pheromones when I stepped inside. A tall man stood near the window. Definitely not someone I knew. He looked surprised when he saw me. "Brown, that's me." I closed the door behind me, then crossed my arms. "So, how much did Max pay you?" The alpha froze. "What?" I sighed. "Relax. I'm not mad." I walked over and sat on the couch casually. "Let me guess. I'm supposed to look like I'm cheating on William, right?" The man stared at me like I'd just read his mind. "Well, yes." I rubbed my face. This novel really lacked creativity. "All right," I said finally. "Let's cooperate." He blinked. "Cooperate?" "Yes." I leaned back lazily. "Because if we don't, Max will just try again." The alpha looked confused. "So what do you want to do?" I thought for a moment, then shrugged. "Nothing dramatic." Just as I said that, the door burst open. Right on schedule. William stood in the doorway. Max beside him. Perfect audience. Max gasped loudly. "William." I didn't want to believe it. His voice trembled. "But Brown really is here with another alpha." I rubbed my temple. Wow. His acting improved. William's gaze moved slowly across the room. From the stranger to me. His expression unreadable. Max stepped forward urgently. "You see now, don't you? He betrayed you." I watched William carefully, waiting for the famous explosion scene. But it never came. Instead, William sighed, then looked at Max calmly. "Are you finished?" The room went silent. Max froze. "What?" William walked into the room slowly. His eyes moved to me, then the stranger, then back to Max. "You've been planning this for weeks." Max's face turned pale. "That's ridiculous." William's voice stayed calm. "Next time you arrange something like this." His gaze sharpened slightly. "Choose a better actor." The hired alpha coughed awkwardly. I nearly laughed. Inside my head. Wow. Mind reading is cheating. Max stared in disbelief. "But, William, I was trying to protect you." William didn't respond. Instead, he turned toward me. "Come here." I blinked. "Me?" "Yes." His tone allowed no argument. I stood slowly and walked over. William's hand suddenly slid around my waist, pulling me firmly against him. The unexpected contact made my breath catch. Alpha pheromones wrapped around me like heat. Possessive. Protective. My heart started pounding. Inside my head, chaos erupted. "Sir, this level of physical contact was not discussed in the contract." William's grip tightened slightly. His voice dropped low near my ear. "Are you finished playing along with them?" I swallowed. "Yes." He nodded once, then looked back at Max. "Next time you try to frame him." His voice became dangerously calm. "Don't do it where I can hear everything." Max's face went completely white. The trap had failed. Completely. William released me slowly, but his hand lingered on my back for a moment longer than necessary. The warmth of it made something strange twist in my chest, and I hated how much I noticed. The ride back from the hotel was painfully quiet. William drove. I sat in the passenger seat staring out the window while city lights slid across the glass. Neither of us spoke. My brain, however, refused to shut up. Well, that was dramatic. Max's villain arc really collapsed fast. I rubbed the back of my neck. But honestly, why did William defend me like that? The memory of his arm around my waist replayed in my head. The warmth of it. The way his voice dropped when he spoke near my ear. My pulse quickened again. Relax, Brown. You are a stand-in. Temporary emotional support Omega. William finally broke the silence. Are you thinking about leaving? I blinked and turned toward him. What? His eyes stayed on the road. You've been distant since Max returned. My throat tightened. Of course I'd been thinking about leaving. That was the plan from the beginning. Collect money. Disappear before the heartbreak chapter. But hearing him ask it directly felt strangely uncomfortable. I just thought, I said slowly, that things would change now that he's back. William didn't respond. The car continued through the quiet streets until we reached the mansion. Inside, the house was silent. Most of the staff had already gone to sleep. I stepped into the living room and turned toward the stairs. Good night, William. Brown. His voice stopped me halfway up the first step. I looked back. Yes. William stood near the entrance, still wearing the same calm expression he always had. But something about the way he was looking at me felt different, like he had been holding something in for a very long time. Come here. My stomach twisted slightly. Still, I walked back down the stairs. What is it? For a moment he didn't speak. Then he asked quietly, when did you start thinking I was a walking red flag? My brain stopped working. What? William crossed his arms. You also called me an emotionally constipated alpha. My mouth opened, closed, opened again. What? He continued calmly. And you thanked me for my generous financial donations. My heart nearly exploded. Oh no. Oh no, no, no. That was a thought. That was definitely a thought. William watched my face carefully, then finally said the words that shattered my brain. I can hear your thoughts. Silence dropped like a bomb between us. I stared at him. That's not funny. It wasn't a joke. My mind went blank. Then 1,000 memories crashed back all at once. Every sarcastic thought. Every insult. Every outrageous internal rant. My entire body froze. You mean? I whispered slowly. You heard everything? William nodded once. From the beginning. My hands flew to my face. Oh my God. The floor suddenly looked very interesting. I'm never thinking again. A quiet sound escaped William. For a moment I thought he was coughing. Then I realized. He was laughing. Actually laughing. The deep quiet kind he always tried to hide. I looked up in disbelief. You're laughing? William rubbed his forehead, still amused. You're the only person who has ever insulted me in their mind while smiling politely in front of me. Heat rushed into my face. That was private. You thought it. That doesn't mean you were supposed to hear it. William's eyes softened slightly. That was the interesting part. I crossed my arms. Well, congratulations, you've been secretly spying on my brain. I never asked for the ability. Still creepy. Yet you stayed. That stopped me. I frowned slightly. What do you mean? William stepped closer. His voice lowered. You could have left at any time. My chest tightened. But you stayed beside me. I looked away. That was practical. Inside my mind the truth whispered quietly. And maybe a little comfortable. William suddenly reached out and lifted my chin, forcing me to meet his gaze. His eyes were darker than usual. Serious. You think I kept you here because you were a stand-in. My heart skipped. That's what everyone says. They're wrong. His hand slid slowly to the back of my neck. Warm. Steady. I never loved Max. My breath caught. He's an old friend. Nothing more. I blinked. But the novel. I stopped myself. Wrong world. Wrong explanation. William continued quietly. The person I like. His thumb brushed the sensitive skin below my ear. My pulse raced. Has always been you. For a moment my brain refused to process the words. You're joking. I'm not. But I'm just. A stand-in. His grip tightened slightly. Yes. William leaned closer. Our breaths mixed again. Then why did I keep listening to your thoughts every day? My voice came out barely above a whisper. Because they entertained you? A faint smile touched his lips. They did. Then his voice softened. But that wasn't the reason. His hand slid from my neck down to my waist, pulling me closer. My chest pressed against his. Alpha pheromones wrapped around me like warm gravity. I liked the real you. His forehead rested lightly against mine. The one who complained about me in his head. I felt my heart hammering wildly. Inside my mind, chaos erupted. This is not part of the plan. This is definitely not part of the plan. William's shoulders shook slightly. He had clearly heard that. I know, he murmured. Then his thumb brushed my lips again. But you're still here. I swallowed. You heard all my thoughts. Yes. You know I planned to take your money and run. Yes. And you still. My sentence disappeared when William leaned down. His lips brushed mine. Soft at first. Testing. My brain short-circuited. For a moment I didn't move. Then instinct took over. My fingers grabbed the front of his shirt as the kiss deepened. Warm. Slow. His hand tightened at my waist, pulling me closer until there was no space left between us. My body reacted immediately to the alpha scent surrounding me. Heat spread through my chest. William broke the kiss just long enough to whisper against my lips. You're thinking too much. I tried to breathe normally. That's because you're literally reading my mind. A low chuckle escaped him. Then he kissed me again. This time deeper. Slower. His fingers tangled gently in my hair as he tilted my head back. The kiss burned warm and steady, sending waves of heat down my spine. When he finally pulled away, I was slightly breathless. William rested his forehead against mine. So, he said quietly, are you still planning to leave? I hesitated. Inside my head the answer formed slowly. Maybe not. William smiled. Because of course. He heard that too. And for the first time since arriving in this strange world, I realized something unexpected. Maybe I wasn't the disposable stand-in after all.